Alex Eala's Cincinnati Open campaign ended with a painful 3-set loss to Amanda Anisimova, but the bigger story coming out of Ohio may be what the tournament learned about the 21-year-old Filipino star. Eala entered Cincinnati as the 17th seed after a remarkable stretch of tennis, and by the time she reached the third round, she was playing one of the biggest names in the draw on center court. Anisimova eventually prevailed 4-6, 6-4, 6-2, but the result does not erase what Eala had already built around her. Welcome back to the channel. If you follow Alex Eala's rise and want more updates from the biggest moments of her season, make sure you subscribe and stay with us. Because Cincinnati was not simply another tournament on Eala's schedule. It became another test of whether her recent breakthrough has transformed her from a rising player into someone who can command attention at the biggest WTA events. And the answer, based on what happened in Cincinnati, is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Eala arrived in Mason, Ohio carrying serious momentum. She had just won the Mubadala DC Open, reached the fourth round in Toronto, and established herself as a player capable of challenging the best names on the tour. Her ranking had climbed to number 20, and she was seeded 17th in Cincinnati. That seeding alone represented how dramatically her season had changed. But rankings only tell part of the story. The other part was visible whenever Eala walked onto a court, particularly in North America, where her Filipino support has become an unmistakable part of the atmosphere. Her Cincinnati tournament began with a first-round bye because of her seeding, sending her directly into the second round against Elena Gabriela Ruse. On paper, it was a match Eala would have been expected to control. In reality, it became another demonstration of why her confidence has become so dangerous. Eala immediately established the tempo, attacked from the left side, moved Ruse around the baseline and took the first set 6-1. She then carried that advantage into the second set, moving ahead 3-0 before Ruse was unable to continue because of a right foot injury. That result sent Eala into the third round, but the circumstances surrounding the match created an unusual sequence. Ruse had already been dealing with the physical issue, and play was also affected by weather conditions in the Cincinnati area. The important point is that Eala did what she needed to do. She came out aggressively, built a commanding lead and was ready to continue when the match could not proceed normally. There was no need for Eala to overplay the situation. She simply accepted the result and moved forward. And moving forward meant Amanda Anisimova. Suddenly, Eala was no longer simply trying to advance deeper into another WTA 1000 event. She was preparing for her first career meeting with a world number 10 opponent who has spent years developing a reputation as one of the cleanest ball strikers on the women's tour. Anisimova entered the matchup as the 9th seed, while Eala was the 17th seed. The difference in ranking was significant, but recent form made the contest much harder to predict. For Eala, the matchup represented another opportunity to measure her progress against elite opposition. She had already built an extraordinary record against top 10 players during 2026, repeatedly proving that a higher-ranked opponent does not automatically change her tactical identity. Instead of trying to overpower everyone, Eala has often used anticipation, movement, angles, and changes of direction to make powerful opponents uncomfortable. That approach helped produce some of the biggest victories of her season, including her win over Jessica Pegula in Washington and her landmark victory over Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon. Anisimova understood the challenge before they stepped onto the court. The American had already seen what Eala had been doing throughout the season and acknowledged that the Filipina had been having an incredible year. She also recognized the atmosphere that was likely to surround the match, pointing out that Eala has a huge fan base. That comment was significant because it captured something increasingly relevant whenever Eala plays in North America. Her popularity is no longer simply a side story to her tennis. It is becoming part of the event itself. The Cincinnati matchup was eventually placed on the tournament's biggest court, giving Eala and Anisimova a stage appropriate for the attention surrounding them. And then Eala delivered exactly the kind of opening that makes her such a difficult opponent. She took the first set 6-4, putting Anisimova under pressure and forcing the American to work through a match that had suddenly become much more complicated than the seeding suggested. For Eala, the opening set was another reminder that her level against elite players is no longer a question. Anisimova, however, had no intention of allowing the match to remain on Eala's terms. The second set became a battle of adjustments, and the American eventually leveled the contest by taking it 6-4. That changed the pressure completely. Instead of Eala serving for the match or protecting an advantage, both players were heading into a deciding set with everything unresolved. And this is where the match became especially revealing, because Eala actually moved ahead 2-0 in the third before Anisimova found another level. From that point, Anisimova took control. Her ball striking became increasingly difficult for Eala to contain, and the American won 6 of the next 8 games to close out the match 4-6, 6-4, 6-2. The final score was harsh compared with the way the match began, but it reflected Anisimova's ability to recover from a difficult first set and maintain her level when the contest reached its most demanding stage. Eala had opportunities, including that early third set advantage, but Anisimova found the responses when they mattered most. For Eala, the defeat also ended a remarkable 5-match winning streak against top 10 opponents. That statistic matters because it shows how dramatically her competitive level has changed. A player who entered 2026 outside the top 30 is now regularly stepping onto court against elite opponents with a realistic expectation of winning. Losing to number 10 does not erase that transformation. If anything, the match provided another piece of evidence that Eala belongs in these conversations. There was also a tactical lesson in the defeat. Eala's greatest strength is not simply her ability to hit hard. It is her ability to read the court, absorb pace, and redirect the ball into spaces that force opponents to move. Against Anisimova, that strategy worked beautifully early. But once the American began taking control of the exchanges and generating sustained power on her own terms, Eala had fewer opportunities to dictate the pattern. Anisimova finished with 18 forehand winners and 18 backhand winners, showing just how aggressively she attacked the ball. That does not mean Eala needs to completely change her game. Quite the opposite. The lesson is that her existing style is already good enough to trouble a top 10 opponent. The next step is finding additional solutions when the opponent adjusts back. Elite tennis often comes down to that second and third layer of adaptation. You can win the first tactical battle and still lose the match if the opponent finds the answer. Cincinnati gave Eala valuable information about what happens when a player like Anisimova refuses to let the initial game plan remain effective. There is another part of the Cincinnati story that deserves attention: the sheer amount of tennis Eala has played. Her 2026 schedule has been packed with meaningful matches, and her recent run has been especially demanding. Washington brought her a WTA 500 title. Toronto took her deep into another WTA 1000 event. Cincinnati followed almost immediately. Each tournament required travel, preparation, competition, and recovery. And all of this is happening during a season in which Eala has gone from promising prospect to one of the most discussed young players in the sport. That workload makes her own comments about momentum particularly interesting. Eala has repeatedly shown that she understands momentum can help confidence, but it does not guarantee results. Her focus has been on the quality of her tennis and whether she executes what she intends to execute. That mindset is important because it protects her from becoming trapped by expectations. Winning Washington does not mean she must win Toronto. Reaching the fourth round at Wimbledon does not mean every subsequent tournament has to end with a title. Instead, Eala appears to be measuring herself against a higher standard. Did she compete well? Did she execute? Did she make the right decisions? Did she maintain her level against a dangerous opponent? Those questions become especially important as her ranking rises, because every tournament will bring stronger expectations. A few months ago, an early loss might have been treated as another developmental step. Now, when Eala loses a 3-set battle to the world number 10 after taking the first set and leading 2-0 in the third, people immediately want to know what went wrong. But there is a danger in that reaction. The rapid rise in expectations can make a good performance look disappointing simply because the player has become capable of even more. Eala did not disappear against Anisimova. She did not get overwhelmed from the opening point. She won a set, led the deciding set, and forced a top 10 opponent to fight back. The final result belongs to Anisimova, but the competitive evidence belongs to both players. Eala showed she could make this match extremely uncomfortable for an established elite opponent. And that is why the Cincinnati loss should be viewed in the context of the entire summer. Eala has already beaten some of the most recognizable names in the sport. She has handled pressure from large crowds. She has played on major stages. She has learned what it feels like to become the player everyone is talking about. Those experiences cannot be replicated in practice. They have to be earned through competition, and Eala is accumulating them at an extraordinary rate. Her popularity adds another layer. Filipino supporters have followed Eala throughout her rise, but the attention around her has increasingly reached beyond the Filipino community. Her performances have created new tennis fans, and her story has become one of the most compelling narratives of the 2026 season. That is why her court assignments and crowd reactions attract so much discussion. A player can have a high ranking without necessarily creating a major atmosphere. Eala is increasingly doing both. The contrast is important for tournament organizers. Traditional scheduling decisions rely heavily on ranking, seeding, broadcast value, and established star power. But modern sports audiences do not always follow those categories. A rising athlete can create demand faster than an institution can adjust its expectations. Eala's recent run demonstrates that possibility. She may not yet have the resume of a multiple Grand Slam champion, but she is developing something equally valuable for the business side of tennis, a loyal audience that actively wants to see her play. And that audience followed her into Cincinnati. Social media reaction around her matches reflected the growing interest, with fans discussing court placement, ticket access, and the atmosphere surrounding her appearances. Those reactions should not automatically be treated as proof of specific ticket sales numbers or official scheduling decisions unless the tournament confirms them. But the broader trend is clear. Eala's matches generate attention, and tournaments are increasingly aware of that fact. Cincinnati was another example of her competitive profile catching up with her commercial and cultural appeal. There is also an important distinction between popularity and pressure. The crowd can give Eala energy, but it can also increase expectations. Every time she wins, the next opponent becomes another test. Every time she loses, the reaction can become louder than the result itself. For a 21-year-old player, learning how to separate the noise from the actual tennis is part of the development process. So far, Eala has generally handled that responsibility with impressive composure. That composure was visible again in Cincinnati. Whether the match was going smoothly, whether conditions interrupted play, or whether the scoreboard became complicated, Eala remained focused on the immediate task. She did not need to create a dramatic narrative around every moment. Her game provided the story. Against Ruse, she built a 6-1, 3-0 advantage before the retirement. Against Anisimova, she won the opening set and took a 2-0 lead in the decider. The issue was not her ability to compete. It was sustaining that advantage against an opponent who raised her level. That distinction could become one of the most important themes of Eala's next stage. Beating top players is no longer the only objective. The challenge now is learning how to close matches after establishing control. Against Anisimova, she had the opening set and the early third set lead. The next step is turning those advantages into victories more consistently. That is not a criticism. It is the kind of problem a player wants to have because it means the level is already high enough to create those opportunities. Anisimova deserves full credit for the comeback. She did not panic after losing the first set. She continued attacking, found more consistency, and used her power to push Eala away from comfortable positions. By the deciding set,